The Pacific Ocean stretches across 60 million square miles of our planet. Within its depths lie secrets that have remained hidden for centuries. But the story I'm about to tell you isn't folklore. It's documented, it's witnessed, and it's terrifying. The Celestial Dawn departed Long Beach, California on March 15, 2019. She carried 23 experienced sailors and enough supplies for 3 weeks. The weather was perfect. The crew was seasoned. The ship was pristine. 48 hours later, she vanished. Captain Marcus Rivera had navigated these waters for 20 years. His reputation was spotless. His crew trusted him completely. The last transmission came at 2:47 a.m. All systems normal, weather holding steady, estimated arrival Manila unchanged. Then, silence. The GPS signal didn't fade gradually. It didn't indicate distress or mechanical failure. It simply ended, as if the Celestial Dawn had been erased from existence. The Coast Guard launched an immediate search. Helicopters scoured the coordinates. Satellite imagery was analyzed frame by frame. For 6 days, they found nothing. Not a single piece of debris, not an oil slick, not even a life jacket. The official report concluded catastrophic structural failure. The families received compensation. The case was closed. But the ocean doesn't always keep its secrets buried. 8 months later, I received a call that changed everything. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded the research vessel Deep Explorer. Her voice trembled as she described what she'd witnessed during a routine survey. It was just after midnight. The fog had rolled in thick, visibility maybe 50 feet. Then we saw lights, ship lights, moving parallel to our course. Standard protocol required radio contact, but there was no response. When the fog briefly cleared, they got their first look at the vessel. It was the Celestial Dawn. The ship appeared exactly as it had on its final voyage. Same markings, same configuration, same distinctive blue and white paint. But something was wrong, terribly wrong. Once word spread through maritime circles, other reports surfaced. The Northern Star, a fishing vessel, described a similar encounter 3 weeks later. A container ship matching the Celestial Dawn's description, moving against the current with no visible crew. The Atlantic Voyager, a passenger cruise ship, reported a ghostly vessel keeping pace with them for nearly an hour before vanishing into pre-dawn darkness. But it was the fourth sighting that truly chilled me. Captain Robert Hayes of the Western Pride not only saw the phantom vessel, but captured it on radar. The recording shows a large object moving at exactly 12 knots, the Celestial Dawn's standard cruising speed. When Hayes established visual contact, his crew reported a ship that appeared to be glowing from within, its windows emitting otherworldly light. It felt like being watched, Hayes told me. Like whatever was on that ship was studying us, deciding whether we were worthy of, I don't know what. Every instinct was screaming at me to get as far away as possible. The radar contact lasted 17 minutes. Then, without warning, the object accelerated to impossible speed and disappeared entirely. Determined to find answers, I began my own investigation. I interviewed every crew member who claimed to have seen the phantom ship. I analyzed weather patterns, ocean currents, maritime traffic. I even consulted paranormal researchers, though I remained skeptical. What I discovered was disturbing. Every sighting occurred in the same area, 200 miles west of the Celestial Dawn's last known position. The encounters always happened during pre-dawn hours between 2 and 4 a.m. In every case, the phantom ship appeared to be following the exact route the Celestial Dawn would have taken to Manila. But here's what haunts me most. I found evidence of similar disappearances dating back decades, ships that vanished without a trace in the same region, vessels later reported as ghostly apparitions. Last year, I decided to see for myself. I chartered the research vessel Truth Seeker and set course for the coordinates where sightings had been reported. My crew was small but experienced. 3 others who shared my determination to uncover the truth. We reached the coordinates on October 13th, positioning ourselves exactly where the celestial dawn had last been detected. For 3 days, we saw nothing unusual, just endless ocean stretching to the horizon. Then, on the 4th night, the fog rolled in. I was on watch when I first noticed the lights. They appeared gradually, like stars emerging from behind clouds. But these weren't stars. They were ship lights, moving with purpose through the darkness. My heart pounded as I realized what I was seeing. There, emerging from the fog like a vision from a nightmare, was the celestial dawn. Every detail was exactly as described. The distinctive hull markings, the container positioning, even the small dent on the starboard side I'd seen in original photos. But the ship was wrong. It moved with unnatural smoothness, as if floating just above the water's surface. The deck lights cast an eerie glow that pulsed with its own rhythm. And the silence, the absolute, terrifying silence, was unlike anything I'd ever experienced at sea. I tried to radio the phantom vessel, my hands shaking as I adjusted the frequency. "Unknown vessel, this is the Truth Seeker. Please respond." For a moment, nothing. Then, cutting through the static, came a voice I'll never forget. Calm, professional, but impossibly distant. "This is the celestial dawn. All systems normal. Weather holding steady." It was the exact transmission from 4 years ago. The same voice, the same words, as if time itself had become trapped in an endless loop. As I watched the phantom ship glide through the fog, I finally understood. The celestial dawn hadn't simply disappeared. It had become something else. Something that exists between our world and whatever lies beyond. The ocean isn't just a body of water. It's a repository of memories, a keeper of secrets, a realm where physics bends to accommodate forces we can barely comprehend. The phantom ship turned slowly, as if acknowledging our presence. For a brief moment, I could swear I saw figures moving on the deck, shadowy forms that might have been the original crew, still carrying out their duties in death as they had in life. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the celestial dawn began to fade. The lights dimmed. The hull became translucent. Within moments, we were alone again, surrounded by nothing but fog and the sound of our own terrified breathing. The celestial dawn continues to sail the Pacific, carrying its ghostly crew on an endless voyage that began with their disappearance and will continue until the ocean itself decides their watch is over. Other ships have joined this phantom fleet over the decades, creating a supernatural armada that patrols waters where the living fear to tread. I've returned to those coordinates twice since that night. Each time I've seen the lights. Each time I've felt the presence of something that should not exist in our rational world. The ocean keeps its secrets well, but sometimes, if you're brave enough to look, it will show you truths that will haunt you forever. The next time you're on the water in the dead of night, remember the celestial dawn, and pray you never see its lights cutting through the fog.